Are we good?
Whenever you're ready, Coach.
So I was really, when you're trying to beat a team, especially a team that's good, that has a championship pedigree like Stony Brook does, and you have it, at halftime you're winning, and you're winning in the second half, you've got to be able to handle the level of intensity, the compete level that gets cranked up in the second half. Winning is really hard, and it's something that's happened to us a few times this year where we've had a lead at halftime, and we've talked about exactly what's going to happen. What we did in the first half isn't going to be good enough. We're going to have to crank it up to another level in the second half to be able to win the game. And thought we played really tough and hard in the first half. We certainly made some mistakes, but we were in control of the game with the way we played. And then, in the second half, when it's time to win, you're going to have to handle another level of intensity. And we couldn't stand up to it today, and that's really disappointing. Stony Brook just attacked, cut harder, run harder, rebound harder, go after the ball harder, defend harder, deny harder, whatever it is they were doing. And it's a little more physical, a little bit more intense, try and make us uncomfortable, and we didn't stand up to it. And that's really, really disappointing. We've got to be mentally and physically tougher. We're not a program yet that is used to winning, that understands it. And we cannot be comfortable or routine about what we do ever, because our routine and being comfortable isn't good enough right now. And ultimately in the second half, we weren't good enough. They dominated us in the second half. Our offense was terrible. Our defense was terrible. We didn't rebound the ball. We turned the ball over. We looked disconnected on both ends. So really, really disappointed, not only in the result, but in the way it played out. To win college basketball teams, you got to be ready to stand up with some toughness and some intensity in the second half, and we weren't able to do that today.
Is there an energy factor involved there, given that you're running 7 guys against their 11, you're playing your second game in 3 days, they've had a week off? Does that come into play in the second half, because it looked like it?
I don't think it does. I think that's an excuse. Our guys love to play. I mean, to be honest, I didn't think once about the fact that Stony Brook didn't play the other day, or they're coming off a bye. And, we're playing guys a lot of minutes. Guys love playing a lot of minutes, and we've prepared them to play a lot of minutes, and they want to play a lot of minutes. So I think that's an excuse. I think our guys just have to be mentally tougher, have to understand what's coming. We've got to be physically tougher so we can handle it, and I've got to prepare them better. One of the challenges we have with our numbers right now is the way we're practicing. It's kind of hard to go out there and battle for long stretches in practice and really, crank up the intensity and get guys comfortable there. But we've done it long enough since we've been here. The guys know what to expect. I've got to prepare them better, and we've got to be able to handle it better.
What did they do to make things difficult for Wes? Because he didn't get more than a couple of what I would even remotely consider easy shots tonight.
Yeah, I thought they loaded towards them. I thought they crowded them, and they're a really long team. So they're able to use some length without having to necessarily get up as close on them. But their help, was in good spots and long enough to where they could maybe bother him and show help without getting too far away from their man. And certainly paid a lot of attention to him. So, they didn't want to get him loose. And they did a good job of making him work for everything that, he got. And guess what, Wes? Get used to it. You start dropping 30 on people, and, especially with the personnel where we're at right now with the limited subs, we've got to handle it better as a team and put Wes in better positions where he can make the right plays.
The Woodhouse kid's their leading scorer coming into the game, and I think he managed just 2 points in the first half, and he kind of got on track there in the second half. Anything particular that you saw that led to that?
Yeah, I just thought he was much more aggressive, and I thought their whole team was much more aggressive in everything they did, and give Jeff credit for that. That's absolutely what we talked about at halftime, what they were going to do to come out and come after us, and I thought he's a really good player, and he took control of that game and said, you know what, I'm going to make them stop me. Harder cuts, more aggressive plays off the dribble, quicker off the ball screens, catching it ready to shoot and knocking down some shots. So, I thought it was an aggressiveness that they took to the game. He spearheaded that, really. He was the leader of that for them, and we couldn't stand up to it.
Talk a little bit about Vincent's play today. I mean, he had 12 and 11. I'm not sure what you're looking for out of him. Obviously, he's one of the few true low post guys that you have, but I haven't seen you in a little while, but he seemed to be, making some strides.
Yeah, Vince keeps getting better. He's competing at the level we need him to compete at. He's really battling in there. He's got to be a better rebounder for us. We've challenged him on that. We played a game a couple of days, maybe it was last week, and he played 35 minutes, had 3 rebounds. I mean, that's not acceptable. So, I think he's had 20 in the last 2 games. He works his tail off every day. His footwork is getting better. He's keeping it simple in there, which I think is really important. To have a low post threat like him and somebody who can clean up the glass inside and be a presence is really, really important. Still just a freshman, but he's getting better, and I like to see that.
Any sense on Andrew and his pending availability?
He's day-to-day, which he has been. I've been day-to-day for 44 years now, so he's been day-to-day. We were hoping UMBC. That wasn't realistic. It's how his ankle responds and where the swelling is at. He's gotten better. We're bringing him to Hartford. Hopefully we can get him out there doing some stuff. But he hasn't practiced since the Columbia game. Hasn't done any basketball stuff. So if we can get him moving a little bit tomorrow, I'd say it's a game time decision for Hartford.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say?
Appreciate you being here. Thank you.
My pleasure.